right, today I'm going to touch on a little of black history today. I want to talk about black history today. All right, I want to open up. Abiel, put the book on the screen, History of Black America by Lerone Bennett, please. All right, here we go. Before the Mayflower, that's the book that we're going to be reading. We're going to read some excerpts today. Before the Mayflower, A History of Black America. If you don't have the book, get it. It's very insightful, very historically accurate.
The page 34. The most important of these events was the European discovery of America and the opening of the New World. It is a point of paradoxical interest that descendants of the first black captives, black Christians born in Spain and Portugal.
Black Christians born in Spain and Portugal. These are the ones that many of these historians say, oh, those are Moors. Remember, Moor is just a Latin term that means black. That's it. It does not identify their race. It does not identify their national origin. Those are Israelites. Read.
Were with the first European explorers and settlers. Black explorers, servants, slaves, and free men.
Servants, slaves, and what?
And free men.
This was around the time of the conquest, when the Renaissance was underway. Go ahead.
Accompanied Spanish and Portuguese explorers in their expeditions in North and South America.
Go ahead.
They were with Pizarro in Peru, Cortez in Mexico, and Menendez in Florida. 30 blacks were with Balboa when he discovered the Pacific Ocean. Typical of the early black explorers in America was Estevanico, who opened up New Mexico and Arizona for the Spaniards. Other blacks, W.E.B. Du Bois, said accompanied De Soto, and one of them stayed among the Indians in Alabama and became the first settler from the Old World.
Now, is that the highlighted area?
Yes, sir.
Okay, get me Deuteronomy 28 and 64, I'm sorry.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other.
So that verse right there, I just want to pause right there, proves that the Israelites would be scattered. So that's why you read throughout history about blacks that came from Spain and Portugal. Okay, and there were many other places as we have addressed in previous classes.
There were skilled farmers and artisans among the first group of African Americans. And there are indications in the record that they were responsible for various innovations later credited to English immigrants.
Y'all see that? Later credited to English immigrants. There are many inventions and things that the black slaves had done that they were not given credit for. Remember, if you are a slave, all credit goes to your slave master. So what the slaves had invented and done, great engineering, was credited to the white man. Read on.
There is furthermore the testimony of Washington Irving, who made the following observation in a contemporary satirical skit. These Negroes, like the monks of the Dark Ages, engross all the knowledge of the...
Negroes, like the what?
Like the monks of the Dark Ages.
Y'all hear that? Go ahead.
Engross all the knowledge of the place, and being infinitely more adventurous and more knowing than their masters, carry on all the...
Wait, read that part again.
And being infinitely more adventurous and more knowing than their masters, carry on all the foreign trade, making frequent voyages in canoes loaded with oysters, buttermilk, and cabbages.
Now pause right there for a second, Cap. Get me 2 Kings 20:20. I just want to show you something, that the Israelites, we were always inventive, ingenuitive, things of that nature. And credit has always been given to the white man. Go ahead.
2 Kings chapter 20 and verse 20. And the rest of the acts of Hezekiah and all his might, and how he made a pool and a conduit and brought water into the city.
So our forefather Hezekiah made a conduit and brought water into the city. When you check out many history books, they always give Rome credit for that. They say the Romans did that. That is a lie. Our forefather, King Hezekiah, was the one that created the first conduits and brought waterways into our cities. Okay? Aqueducts, thank you. Can you say it on the mic so people can hear you?
The pool is the reservoirs. So reservoirs that today provide water to cities and everything Our forefathers made that. That's what they mean by the pool. And the Romans called them the Great Aqueducts. That's when people go over there and they visit it, you see all that. It's supposed to be, they invented this, and that's how cities were able to grow. So conduits, you would know it as aqueducts, and pool is reservoirs.
Exactly. Very good. Get me Isaiah 38:8, please.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 38 and verse 8. Behold, I will bring again the shadow of the degrees, which is gone down in the sundial of Ahaz.
So we were able to tell time too. Don't think the white man created watches and things of that nature. We had sundials to determine time through day and night. Go ahead.
10 degrees backward, so the sun returned 10 degrees, by which degrees it was gone down.
All right. So now let's go back to the history of Black America. So do you brothers and sisters understand what we're reading so far? Okay, all praise. I want you to see the greatness of our ancestors and that we had ingenuity. All right, come on, Captain.
Page 36. They are great astrologers, predicting the different changes of weather, almost as accurately as an almanac. A large proportion of the first generation of African Americans entered America with Spanish names.
So it says we understood astrology. It said what else? It said we were more as accurate as an almanac. This is the first group of slaves that came over. Then it said, what was that? And it said the first group all had Spanish names because those were the Moors conquered in Spain, and the remnant of them that was caught were brought to the Americas. Hello. This is history you ain't gonna find in school. This is why we need our own schools, educate our own kids. Where you at? Was that it, Captain?
No, there's more.
Go ahead.
For reasons that are not readily apparent.
You see that? For reasons that, because it's not taught nowhere. He was discovering stuff. Can I say that word? I want to say the other word, but discovering stuff. He said, what is this? I don't understand. This is not readily apparent of what I'm reading, what I'm learning. Go ahead.
Many black males were called Antonio, a name that quickly became Anthony or Anthony. Other popular names of the period included Michaela, Calchacello, Mingo, Pedro, Francisco, Giovanni, Marie.
Those are the group of slaves that came off the ships, the first ones. Go ahead.
Wartello, Tomorrow, Angola, and Tony Congo. Shortly after their arrival in America, many blacks discarded African and Spanish names and adopted English titles.
See that? We discarded Spanish names and adopted English titles. I'm going to give you a name, and you're going to like that name. Go ahead.
By 1649, colonial officials were able to report that there are in Virginia about 15,000 English, and of Negroes brought thither 300 good servants. The good servants came from different backgrounds with different experiences. Quite a few, as we have noted, came from England, where blacks had lived since the middle of the 16th century.
Now, we found out that we lived there way earlier than that. Go ahead.
Many came from Spain, Portugal, and the West Indies. Significantly, many were Christians.
From there, what page was that, Captain Isaac?
37.
Okay, go to page 171 now. I should have it highlighted there. Come on.
Page 171. Working the same side of the street, but with a different emphasis, was Alexander Crummell, a pioneer advocate of the concept of Negro identity.
So he's discussing Negro identity. Go ahead.
A thin, intense Episcopalian priest who preached in Liberia before returning to America as rector of a Washington church.
Who can tell me about Liberia? We read about Liberia maybe a month, 2 months ago. We discussed Liberia. Liberia. Can we Google Liberia, please? All right, I'm going to read it. Liberia. Officially, the Republic of Liberia is a country on the West African coast. Liberia means land of the free in Latin. So Liberia is a Latin word that means land of the free. It is bordered by Sierra Leone to its west, Guinea to its north, Ivory Coast to its east. It covers an area. I ain't know them numbers. Let me jump down. Okay, I'm going on to that second paragraph right there. The Republic of Liberia beginning as a settlement of the American Colonization Society, ACS. declared, because those were the slaves. It's going to say all that. Declared its independence on July 26, 1847. The United States did not recognize Liberia's independence until during the American Civil War on February 5th, 1862, between January 7th, 1822, and the American Civil War. More than 15,000 freed and freeborn black Americans from United States and 3,198 Afro-Caribbeans relocated to the settlement. That's where they brought many of the slaves back there during that time to settle it. The black American settlers carried their culture with them to Liberia. The Liberian Constitution and flag were modeled after the United States. Okay, that's all I want out of that. So, Liberia was colonized by black Americans and West Indian Americans. Okay. Captain Isaac,
Yes, sir.
back where you at again?
Page 171. A thin, intense Episcopalian priest who preached in Liberia before returning to America as rector of a Washington church. Crummell explored some of the territory covered by modern advocates of Negritude. Blacks, he said, were a race God had preserved to do something with.
Y'all see that? He says the blacks was a race God had reserved to do something with. He wasn't sure to do what with, but he knew there was something special about us. Was that it?
In an eloquent sermon, the destined superiority of the Negro.
The destined. I want y'all to listen good to the wording here. The destined superiority of the what?
Negro.
Of the Negro. Go ahead.
Crummell said that the black American was destined to emerge as a superior human being with the best qualities of other races.
Can we read that again? Come on, man. Let's read that thing again.
Crummell said that the black American was destined to emerge as a superior human being with the best qualities of other races.
Now, he prophesied in that thing. Y'all don't realize it, but that's some prophecy right there. So what we're doing in here, teaching young black and Latin men, all of us in here are learning the word of God. This is what's going to make us that superior man. The word of God. You understand that? This will cause us to take care of our families and our kids. This will this will cause us to go out and teach our people and bring them back into this knowledge. Y'all understand that? This will change the scallywag on the corner sister into a right sister, a good sister, make somebody a good wife somewhere. But only the Bible can do that. It has to come through you, brothers. It has to come through you. Was that it, Cap?
Yes, sir.
All right, from there, give me page, what page was that?
That was page 171.
Page 171. Give me Deuteronomy 28:37, please. Because they were discussing what did it say, Captain Isaac? The identity. It says something about identity earlier. You read about when you first started reading.
Yeah, it says a pioneer advocate of the concept of Negro identity.
Right, the concept of Negro identity. They were trying to figure out the identity of the Negro. Deuteronomy 28, verse 37, please.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment.
And astonish. This is a curse that came on the Israelites for breaking God's laws. We would become an astonishment. Read.
A proverb.
A proverb.
And a byword.
A byword, meaning we would be called outside our God-given names. Okay.
Among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
Among all nations. That's why everybody says, oh, they're Moors. Oh, they're blacks. There's always some confusion about our racial identity. The concept of the Negro's racial identity. Everyone wants to know who we are. Well, the Bible is the only book that declares who we are. From there, pay close attention. Pay close attention. A lot of times we talk about slaves and we know that the white man put us through a ringer, destroyed our families, things of that nature. But there were times on the plantations where many of our families lived and we had time to ourselves, and it shows how we dealt. You have it, Captain?
Yes, sir.
What page is that again?
Page 107.
Go ahead.
Most slaves lived in family units headed by a father and mother.
Wait. Most slaves, read that again.
Most slaves lived in family units.
In family units.
Headed by a father.
Wait, I want to pause on father because headed by a father. I want just to pause there because that's an oxymoron today. That is so unheard of. Like, what is this? Headed by a father. Headed. Not under the woman, it said headed. This was slaves. Our ancestors had some sense even in slavery. It's today we've lost all our God-given sense. Read that again.
Most slaves lived in family units headed by a father and mother, and large numbers of slaves lived in long marriages. Some of
Wait. It said most slaves lived in long marriages. Can we get that in Tobit, please? Y'all know what I want? I don't know what I want. Somebody help me. Yeah, that one. And Tobit 8. Tobit 8. Y'all know. 8 and what verse? 4? Somebody read this to the young slaves today. The slave man and the slave woman.
Tobit, chapter 8 and verse 7. And now, O Lord, I take not this my sister for lust.
I don't take her in lust just because she got big butt and a smile. That ain't the only reason I'm taking her. Go ahead.
But uprightly.
But uprightly, meaning she's right in the head. Yeah. She's right in the spirit. Go ahead.
Therefore, mercifully ordain that we may become aged together.
So the slaves even understood that. The slaves understood that. But today, the young black man and Latin man, I'm confused. Now they lost all God-given sense. I don't understand why I got to stay with all my life. I want to move on to the next woman.
You know, back in the days that we're reading about, it wasn't even a question about being married until death. You know what I'm saying? This was not even a conversation. You didn't even have to bring this up as a point, to make a point, because it was just natural. Now, we hear about it. He said, well, you've been married for 10 years? Oh, man, that's long. That shows you how sick we are.
Yeah.
In the past, it didn't even bring concern, because that was just the natural thing to do. Right. Now, just to go 10 to 15 years, they said, well, don't you get tired of him? Right. That's crazy. That shows you that we have grown into level 1 retarded. Yeah. No, what, level 6 retarded? Well, level 5? What level are we at now? Because we're on 3? Okay. Because the levels go up as the times, you know, so we probably at the stratosphere of craziness now.
Exactly. Come on, Cap.
Large numbers of slaves lived in long marriages, some of 30 or more years. Fathers were strong and respected members of the family circle.
Ooh, wait a minute, Fathers were strong and respected members of the family. That's unheard. That is really unheard of today. Go ahead.
Were strong and respected members of the family circle, and male children were often named for their fathers. Premarital sex.
See that? They was named after their fathers because the fathers was around. Y'all see that? The women honored the father and said, I'm going to name this boy after you. Name this boy after, everybody had a daddy name. Okay? That's what they did. That's culture. You understand? That's some good sense there.
So they didn't have a problem with paperwork.
No one can hear you.
So they didn't have a problem with paperwork back then.
Right.
Yeah, the paperwork was the Bible. Often the old Bibles they have married to, birth. They have to have, the Bible was an actual legal document that proved that you were married.
I don't think they understand what you mean by that, because I'm
again.
going to explain it. Can I jump in it?
Sure.
If you look in some of the Bibles today, just to show you that what Deacon Athon is saying, they actually have, in certain sections of the Bible where they actually write family tree, they actually have these things written, because you was able to produce that as an actual document. They still didn't get it, Deacon Athon. In some of the Bibles, I see some of the sisters shaking their head. Some of the Bibles, if you open them up, like those big Bibles, they actually have slots in there written where you can write certain things in there, and there's a legal document. They actually accept it as a document.
So slaves knew that you had to have legal documentation for your marriage. And it was usually, most of the time, the Bible.
Just like I'll give some of y'all, Ephraim, y'all might notice, like they allow, some courts allow your baptism papers to go in and bring that, because the church was a place of, right, a legal institution, right. This is to certify that, right, they got a name there, blah, 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 word by, right, this is a Bible. Marriage, this is what they had back in the day. Exactly. Yep, you got one in yours too. Right. It was considered the family Bible.
They have a section in here called marriages. Another one is occasions to remember. Another one is deaths. Right. These were actually certificates, basically. They were honored as certificates.
Exactly. Some of y'all got Bibles like that, and you're like, I'm confused. What's that? I don't understand what that's for. We've fallen a long way.
I tell you, level 5. Sitting right there in the book, and we still at level 5.
Where we at, Cap?
Page 107.
Go ahead.
Premarital sex was fairly common.
Wait. Premarital sex was fairly common. Go ahead.
Although the slave community expected a premarital pregnancy to be followed by marriage.
Wait.
So they didn't have to bring the shotgun.
They didn't have to bring the shotgun. If you dealt with premarital sex and she got pregnant, it said the slave community expected you to marry. Can we get that in the scripture? Can we? Exodus.
I'm there already.
You're there already? Thank you. Come on.
The book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 16. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife.
So the slaves had good sense and they could barely read. Here we all got all kind of education to
Right.
read. It just confused as hell.
We free, but we're at level 5.
Yeah,
we
level
was
5
in slavery was
retard.
at level 1.
We on full retard now. With an education. Make no sense. Where we at, Captain?
Point 3, page 107. The slave community was more open and more honest about sex, but it did not approve or condone indiscriminate mating and begetting.
Wait. They did not what?
But it did not approve or condone indiscriminate mating and begetting.
Can you get me that in Deuteronomy? Is it 23? You know what I want? 23. No ho. 23:17. Deuteronomy 23:17.
Chapter 23, verse 17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor sodomite of the sons of Israel.
So it was not our custom to have women whore around and men just randomly sleep with them and bounce. That was not our custom. Give me that in Ecclesiasticus is 23. You know what I want? Isaac, you know what I want, Cap?
No, sir.
All bread is sweet to a whoremonger, a hoe man. That one, a man whore.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 23, verse 17.
Wait, let me get it. Ecclesiasticus 23:17, right? Go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. All bread is sweet to a whoremonger.
A whoremonger is a man whore. Go ahead.
He will not leave off till he die.
The only thing that could stop a man whore is death. That's it. So it didn't say a strong woman could change him. It said the only thing, sisters, that could change a man whore is death. He got to die. Go ahead.
A man that breaketh wedlock, saying thus in his heart, who seeth me? I am compassed about with darkness. The walls cover me, and nobody seeth me. What need I to fear? The Most High will not remember my sins. Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men, and considering the most secret parts.
So you man whores, secret man whores up in here, believe me, God got your number. He sees you, even with all the lights off. Baby, cut all the lights off. Why? So nobody can see us. God said his eyes is 10,000 times brighter than the sun. It's like daytime to him. And he got all the angels is recording everything you're doing. And all your little noises too. Go ahead.
He knew all things ere ever they were created. So also after they were perfected, he looked upon them all.
Come on.
Keep reading. This man shall be punished in the streets of the city.
This is why you see brothers shot in the street, run over by cars, and you be confused on the news like, damn, I wonder why he got ran over by that car. Or why that bullet hit him. He just came from the grocery store. Tyrone wasn't bothering nobody. The Lord said no. Tyrone was a whoremonger, a man whore. The bullet was shot. I commanded an angel, grab the bullet, like you ever see the Flash? When they go, pow, and the Flash grabbed the bullet, and he go, what? And let it go right there in your head. And you can, why Tyrone get hit? Because Tyrone was a man whore. God said it's time to die. Come on.
This man shall be punished in the streets of the city, and where he suspecteth not he shall be taken.
So the man's not even going to suspect that he's going to get put to death, and he gets taken out. Go ahead.
Thus shall it go also with the wife that leaveth her husband.
So now the sisters don't get a pass either. It says, likewise, it shall go with the woman that leaves her husband. Go ahead.
and bringeth in an heir by another.
Bring in a baby by some other dude talking about this your baby. That a baby don't look like me. Look at his nose. Look at his nose. Look at his lips. No, Maury, that ain't my baby. You know the white man made millions off of Negro indiscretions. Still to this day making millions of dollars off black and Latin immorality. He's I could get paid off this filth. And he's getting paid too. Come on, Isaac.
Verse 23. For first, she hath disobeyed the law of the Most High.
So that's the first law she broke. Go ahead.
And secondly, she hath trespassed against her own husband.
That's the second thing she disobeyed.
And thirdly, she hath played the whore in adultery and brought children by another man.
What's that thing West Indians got? What's that parade? Carnival, Bacchanal, and they go, oh, what do they call that thing? Carnival baby. Thank you. The carnival babies. Some of y'all online might be carnival babies. Some of y'all up in here might be carnival babies. And you think your daddy's your daddy, but that ain't your daddy. Your daddy's down the block somewhere with his other family. The hell is this? Let's go back, Cap.
The slave community was more open and more honest about sex, but it did not approve or condone indiscriminate mating and begetting. More than that, the slave community expected males and females to remain faithful after marriage.
But dang, I'm like, this was slaves, quote unquote, uneducated slaves.
It will make you give responses like that. You say damn and all that. Because this is just to hear this kind of thing to show you how far we've fallen. You know, it is phenomenal. Flabbergasting. Mm-hmm. These kinds of things will knock you off your feet. Right. So it is a shock, especially to those with sense. Exactly. Go ahead.
Come on. Was that it, Gap?
No, there's more. Robert Smalls, who later served in the U.S. Congress, told the American Freedmen's Inquiry Commission in 1863 that if a woman loses her husband, she mourns for him and will not marry for a year and a half unless she is driven to it by want and must have somebody to help her.
Meaning she was broke and the man died and he didn't have nothing to leave her. Go ahead.
Men and women nourished and sustained by the slave community pressed that struggle.
Wait. Men and women what?
Nourished and sustained by the slave community.
Do you brothers and sisters understand what that means? We took care of our people.
The book of Psalms, chapter 37 and verse 25. I have been young and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread.
Y'all know why? Because we took care of ourselves. We took care of each other. So what we're reading in the Bible, the slaves had good sense to apply that. Now give me Acts 4. It's one of my favorite chapters and verses. Acts 4, 34, 35. Talk about what did the slaves knew more than you give them credit for. Yeah, they might not have been able to, all of them couldn't read and write. Didn't have your luxurious education, quote unquote, but they had good sense. You got it, Captain?
Yes, sir.
Come on.
The book of Acts, chapter 4, verse 34. Neither was there any among them that lacked, for as many as were possessors of lands or houses sold them, and brought the prices of the things that were sold, and laid them down at the apostles' feet, and distribution was made unto every man according as he had need.
So we had a community that we looked out for one another, and that's the same thing that this book written by Lerone Bennett is saying the slaves. Can you read that part again, Cap?
Men, page 107. Men and women nourished and sustained by the slave community pressed that struggle on several levels. Militants, as we shall see, organized and led revolts and conspiracies.
All I want is that was all I wanted out of that.
Okay.
Give me 1 Timothy 5 and 8. 1 Timothy 5 and 8. 1 Timothy. Because I heard a statement one time that teaching young black men to get jobs, to take care of their families, is oppression. Do you hear what I said?
Yeah, I heard you.
That it is oppression, that we are oppressing young black and Latin men by commanding them to get work.
See, that's level
to
6.
take care of their families.
That's level 6.
Oppression.
That's level 6.
That's level 6 retard.
That's level 6. Full retard.
Full. Can you read that for us?
First Timothy's chapter 5 and verse 8.
Now, this is what, if you don't believe anything, at least believe what the Bible says. Go ahead.
But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith.
Wait, does it say she has denied? What does it say?
He hath denied the faith.
You know why I wanted to say he? Because the man is the head of the house, not the woman. So when you get brothers saying the woman is to go out and work and bust her butt and provide food and shelter for you men, that's crazy. It's A backwards. Can I say A backwards? I don't want to say the full word, but I'll get emails. A backwards.
Well, let me say it.
Go ahead.
It's ass backwards. That's what it is. The ass is leading the body. That's what it means.
And the hypocrisy is this. You'll hear Israel say that, and they'll say you can have more than one wife. Then they'll pull Exodus 21, where it says, shall he not diminish? They disregard that part. It says, shall he not diminish?
Can we read that?
Yes, Exodus 21.
Can we read that? Isaac, I'm sorry. Did you finish what you were reading?
Oh, no, sir.
Finish 1 Timothy 5 and 8, then we go to Exodus.
But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel.
Worse than an unbeliever, an idolater. So that's what God says, because that's the Spirit of Christ speaking through Paul here. Okay? That is a commandment, like it says in Corinthians. If any man be spiritual or call himself a prophet, let him acknowledge that the things I say are the commandments of God. That's what he said. Did he say that? That's what he said. So so now from there, since everybody want to run from Christ, I don't accept that Jesus Christ stuff. I believe in Moses, what he said about marriage. I'm going to show y'all what, like Deacon Anton said. They don't even believe Moses. This is going to prove they don't believe Moses either. You got it for us?
Yes, Exodus 21 and 10. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish.
Her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. Shall he, meaning he's the one that provides those things and cannot withdraw if he takes another wife. One more. Get Genesis 30 verse.
Can we read the next verse?
Next verse. When they avoid.
Verse,
Avoid the next verse. Watch that verse. They say, oh, no, we don't accept that.
verse 11. And if he do not these three unto her, then shall she go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Read again.
And if he.
Stop. If who?
If he.
No, if she.
If he.
If they.
If he.
Oh, okay.
Do not these three unto her, then shall she go out free without money.
Why isn't that law applied? Why don't they use that one? If you don't apply, if he does not provide for her, she can go. Where is that law applied? They don't believe in Moses either. These guys are atheists, secret atheists. Get Genesis 30, verse 30, please. Let's see where
Right.
Paul got that from.
By the way, Christ said that had you believed Moses, you would have
believe
believed
my
me,
word.
for he wrote of me. You stupid, dumb, ignorant people out there messing up the Bible.
Let's see where Paul got the statement from in Timothy 5 and 8. Let's see who he got it from and where it's written.
Genesis 30 and verse 30. For it was little which thou hadst before I came.
This is Jacob speaking to his father-in-law, Laban. Okay? Laban was an extortioner. He didn't want him to leave. Jacob started to get angry. I want to get out of here. Watch what he says.
And it is now increased unto a multitude.
Me being here living with you, you got blessed. Both of us are rich now. Go ahead.
And the Lord hath blessed thee since my coming.
He's blessed you since I've been living here. Go ahead. Watch this.
And now when shall I provide for mine own house also?
What did he say?
And now when shall I provide for my own house also?
Does it say when will your daughters provide for my house?
Shall I provide for mine own house also?
Ass backward camps. Ass backwards. That's what it is. Because Jacob said, when can I provide for my own house? Laban didn't say, you're oppressive, brother. You're oppressing my daughters. That's not what it says.
Yeah, Deacon Nathan, did you just say the camp? Those are no camp, man. Those are niggas wonders. And they ain't wanting no camps, man. Those are brothers who don't apply God's laws, statutes, and commandments. Then God said they don't fit to be leaders. They set themselves up because they go inside these cereal box and pick up elders. Then they claim they're elder. They ain't no elder to me. I don't respect men like that.
The bottom line is that this Bible requires discipline. Okay, the Bible requires discipline. And when you read these laws, it requires you to be a man. And that's what the problem is. People run away from the manhood and lie on it. and try to say the Bible ain't talking about what it's talking about, because it's literally a challenge to that old man, that old natural man called a Negro. It's a challenge. This Bible is in direct opposition of the Negro that's still inside of many of us. And we're not willing to kill the old man like the scriptures say. Mortify those members. You got to mortify that old man. Be born again. And check their whole spirit and follow what this Bible says 100%. But because of that, they don't want to do that. Then they start twisting and bending the scriptures around. That's what the problem is. And then they try to make everybody believe that the Bible ain't talking about real change.
When we were in St. Martin, Captain Isaac was there along with Officer Mattathias in Tallahassee. I forgot the brother's name. I think it was Carlos. Who's the radio show? Ricardo. Yes, sir. When we left, when we were leaving, he made a statement to us. He said, what y'all brothers are teaching, he said, it will put fear in people. He said, not fear in the context of like they horrified. He said, fear in the context of change. He said people are afraid of change in their life. They have conducted themselves and celebrated certain things. Now they're finding out it's wrong according to God. Now comes change. And he said responsibility. That's where the fear comes in. And it's not just with the regular public. It goes with other camps as well. Change is a fearful thing for a black man. I got to change. You got to change. I want to show you something here.
Page 103. Men and Women immortalized by James Weldon Johnson in the poem. O black and unknown bards, the mood and meaning of the products they created varied, as we can see if we look for a moment at the spirituals. There were coded spirituals of protest and defiance.
The songs that our ancestors sang were coded. Can you read that part again? They were what?
There were coded spirituals of protest and defiance.
Coded spirituals of protest and defiance. That's what our ancestors sang. They didn't sing songs like, you remind me of my Jeep. They didn't sing stuff like that. And to this
The
day, I don't
levels keep
understand
going
that
up.
song.
The levels keep going up. We're at 7 now. You remind me of my Jeep.
Was that it, Captain?
No, sir.
Go ahead.
There were coded spirituals of protest and defiance based on the passion and eventual triumphs of the Hebrew slaves of Egypt.
Wait. Read that part again.
There were coded spirituals of protest and defiance based on the passion and eventual triumphs of the Hebrew slaves of Egypt.
Our songs is based on our ancestors. Our ancestors had some good sense. When our ancestors heard the history of Moses, we sang songs based on that thing and hoped that we could get that same deliverance. Come on, was there more to that?
Oh, Mary, don't you weep, don't you moan. Pharaoh's army got drowned.
That's one of the famous spiritual song right there. A coded song of protest and defiance. Thank you. Now, give me that in Psalms it was 137, 3 and 4. And it had to be coded for a reason. Coded meaning if you sing a song too plain that the white man understand, you know your friendly neighborhood white man, he put us to death.
Right. It was coded and then decoded by those who were meant to decode it,
There you
meaning
go.
communication between the same people.
There you go.
And it locked others out. That's the beautiful thing about it.
All praises, all praises. Now watch this. Psalms of David spoke. David saw this thing in the spirit. Remember, the spirit of Christ, like we were discussing last night, Laba, the spirit in Christ of Christ was in all the prophets, all of them. Let's prove that. Give me that in Psalm 1 Peter's, where we read it? 1, 10, 11. 1 Peter's chapter 1, verse 10, 11. To prove to you that the spirit of Christ was in all the prophets.
1 Peter's chapter 1 and verse 10. Of which salvation the prophets have inquired and searched.
Of which salvation come on, read it
And
again.
searched diligently, who prophesied of the grace that should come unto you.
So we're talking about the prophets. Go ahead.
Searching what or what manner of time the Spirit of Christ which was in them.
Stop. Read that part again.
Searching what or what manner of time the Spirit of Christ which was in them.
So the spirit of Christ was in all the prophets. Christ was in Isaiah, Jeremiah, Micah, Ezekiel, David. The Spirit of Christ was in all the prophets. Go ahead.
did signify when it testified beforehand the sufferings of Christ and the glory that should follow. Psalms 137 and verse 1.
No, 3 and 4.
Verse 3. For there they that carried us away captive.
The there means in slavery. The there means slavery. Read the verse above it.
Verse 2. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captive
They that carried us away in slavery
required of us a song.
required of us a song, wanted us to sing for them.
Went down to the river Jordan, where John baptized 3. When I walked the devil in hell, says Johnny baptized me. I say, roll, Jordan, roll. Oh, now roll, Jordan, roll. My soul arise in heaven, Lord, for the year Jordan roll. Well, some say John was a Baptist. Some say John was a Jew. But I say John was a preacher, cause my Bible says so too. I say, roll, Jordan, roll. Roll, Jordan, roll. My soul arise in heaven, Lord, for the year when Jordan roll. Hallelujah, roll, Jordan, roll. Roll, Jordan, roll. My soul arise in heaven, Lord, for the year when Jordan roll. Hallelujah, roll, Jordan, roll. Roll, Jordan, roll. My soul arise in heaven, Lord, for the year when Jordan roll. Everybody say, roll, Jordan, roll. Roll, Jordan, roll. My soul arise in heaven, Lord, for the year when Jordan roll. Roll, Jordan, roll. Roll, Jordan, roll. My soul arise in heaven, Lord, for the year when Jordan roll. Roll, Jordan, roll. Roll, Jordan, roll. My soul arise in heaven, Lord, for the year when Jordan roll.
Go ahead.
And they that wasted us
And they that destroyed our race, our identity, our nationality, our family structure, our culture, go ahead,
required of us mirth,
required of us laughter.
saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion.
Sing us one of those spirituals. Sing us one of those gospel songs. Go ahead.
How shall we sing the Lord's song
How shall we sing the Lord's song
in a strange land?
in a strange land? Why? Because if we sang the Lord's song here, they would kill us. This is why our ancestors sang coded spirituals. The songs were in code, okay? Because when you read it, the Lord's song is about deliverance. The Lord's song is about destroying your enemy. The Lord's song is about salvation and the death of your enemies. That's what the Lord's song is about. We couldn't sing them songs clear. We want you dead. Make a song out of that. Hey, Martha, you hear what that nigga singing over there? They want us to roast up and die. Kill him, Jethro. You know some of them song names they got? Ebenezer, kill him. From there, go back, Isaac. Go back to get me to page 134. I want to talk about another ancestor of ours. You see the highlights? Page 134?
Yes, sir, I do.
Come on.
Page 134.
We're going to do some reading on this one. Come on.
Early in life, Turner came to the view that God had set him aside for some great purpose. To accomplish this purpose, he avoided crowds and close companionship.
Now, wait a minute. Come on.
Early in life, Turner came to the view that
Now,
God...
we're reading about Nat Turner. Go ahead.
Early in life, Turner came to the view that God had set him aside for some great purpose. To accomplish
You know what that's like? Can you get me that, Captain? I'm sorry. In Jeremiah, is it chapter 1 or 2? From the womb. 1 and 5. Thank you. Give me that.
the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1 and verse 5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee.
So that means he was sanctified and known in the spirit world before the Lord sent his spirit into his mother's womb. Jeremiah had the understanding that we are all we are in the heavens with the Father. And then he sends us down. Go ahead, go back now.
Page 134.
Come on.
To accomplish this purpose, he avoided crowds and close companionships and wrapped himself in mystery.
Read the beginning of that again. Them first few words.
Early in life,
That's what we want.
Early in life, Turner came to the view that God had set him aside for some great purpose.
Can you stop right there for a second? You can't just read past that. Just those few words there. Each of us have to see ourselves the way Nat Turner saw it. You just can't read past that and keep going. That statement there is super heavy. You have to see that the Lord himself have set you to do a special purpose. That's the only way you're not going to allow garbage to come before you. You have to see yourself as special. You have to see yourself as the chosen of God who put his hand on you for you to get the job done. Not to pass it to somebody else. You have to see yourself as that person that the Lord said, you know what, I'm going to use you to get my work done. That's why when I hear certain things, my ears pop. And then we just go past it. No. Read that again.
Early in life, Turner came to the view that God had set him aside for some great purpose.
You have to come to the conclusion within your own self. You have to come to the conclusion and say, you know what, I was not put on this earth to do nothing. I was not put on here to become garbage. I was not put on here to become a hoe, a prostitute, a nigger. I wasn't put here for that. The Lord caused my mother and father to come together to produce me for a great, beautiful purpose. And you have to carry yourself that way. You have to believe that.
We don't.
Go ahead.
To accomplish this purpose, he avoided crowds and close companionships and wrapped himself in mystery, systematically ascetic. He renounced tobacco, liquor, and money. There was method in this.
So that shows that he had discipline. That's my point. He had discipline from an early age. Go ahead.
There was method in this maneuver, as Turner himself admitted. With maturity and increasing recognition.
Now I want y'all to listen good to this. Go ahead.
With maturity and increasing recognition came a feeling that he was destined to lead his people out of bondage. Like Gabriel, like Denmark Vesey, Turner found food for insurrection in the Bible.
What? Wait a minute. Read that one more again.
Like Gabriel, like Denmark Vesey, Turner found food for insurrection in the Bible.
I don't know what y'all think the Bible is a book of. Some of y'all think the Bible is a book of love. And the Bible was always used for insurrection against oppression. This Bible is a book of revolution. This Bible is a book of deliverance and salvation from slavery.
And weak men are scared of that.
Exactly.
Weak men are scared of what we just read there. Weak men are scared of that. Could he read that whole thing again, Bishop? I'm sorry. Read it again.
With maturity,
The whole thing. Get it all.
early in life, Turner came to the view that God had set him aside for some great purpose.
If you come to that conclusion, you say, you know what, God has set me, like I was saying before, God has set me here for a special, particular purpose. And your mind is centered on that. Your mind is focused on that thought. Listen to the rest of what I was listening to as he was reading it. Read on.
To accomplish this purpose,
To accomplish, so in other words, to fulfill this purpose. Listen to how this man is thinking.
he avoided crowds.
He avoided crowds. This is the discipline that it took for him to make sure that he fulfilled that purpose. He had to resist crowds of stupidity. He had to resist crowds of foolishness and weakness. Read.
He avoided crowds and close companionships and wrapped himself in mystery.
Anything that would have distracted him from his purpose, he said, get it the hell away from me, because he knew his purpose. That's what I say to each and every one of you. You must know your purpose. You must know the reason why you're here. Don't be sitting in here wishy-washy and don't understand what this is about. You must know your purpose. Read.
Systematically ascetic, he renounced tobacco, liquor, and money.
All of these things could take you away from your purpose. He said, anything that's going to take me away from the purpose for why I was born, I'm going to move it away from me. That's discipline. A lot of weak men cannot do that. They cannot do that. Read.
There was method in this maneuver.
And he said there was method in why he was doing the things he was. The method was so that he could fulfill that purpose. And as you kept reading, you was getting to the parts about where he got food to fuel his purpose. He understood his purpose was to be an agent of insurrection against his oppressors. That's what his purpose was. And he said, and the food on the fuel to help this is the Bible.
Wisdom of
Because
Solomon.
that, you know, cigarettes, you read tobacco, alcohol, and what else?
Money.
So these are the things that were used to keep the slaves occupied, those three elements right there. Nat Turner had a mindset. He said, you know what, I'm not going to get caught up in this. Read that again. Wisdom of Solomon 1:5, I mean.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 5. For the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit.
Discipline, the Most High is all about us disciplining ourselves, disciplining our thoughts, our tongue, disciplining our actions, the way we live our lives. Discipline. That's what the Lord does. Disciplines you. Go ahead.
And remove from thoughts that are without understanding, and will not abide when unrighteousness cometh in.
Now give me Matthew 4:4. Because it said he used the Bible as food of insurrection. For insurrection. That's what it said, right? That's what Christ said here in Matthew 4:4. Watch this. He compares the Bible of food. Go ahead.
The book of Matthew, chapter 4 and verse 4. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God.
Now give me that one in Revelation. Is it Revelation 10? Yeah, the little book. I want that one. Revelation 10, verse 9. About eating. Because it said he used the Bible as food for insurrection. Food.
Revelation chapter 10,
Verse 9.
verse 9. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, give me the little book.
Give me the Bible. Go ahead.
And he said unto me, take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up.
Meaning he learned it. That's what it told me. He took a literal book and bit into it. He learned it. Go ahead.
And it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it,
When I understood it,
my belly was bitter.
my belly was bitter. He understood. He said, dang, it's going to be a whole lot of killing. I got to do a whole lot of changing. Go ahead. What you got, Alsa?
Why did he say it was bitter in his belly? Because there's something happening. Who's that brother behind Joachim? Yes. Give him a microphone.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Because he had to apply what he was that he read.
Okay. What's going to happen as a result of applying
And
it?
then change.
Change. Because when you came in, when you came in here, you didn't have any problems until you started applying the law. That's when the trials came up. That's when the fire came up. That's when the family and everybody else coming on to you. That's when you said, "Oh, shoot, this." Because when you first got it, it was sweet. I found out I was an Israelite. I'm the greatest. Then here come the troubles. Oh, damn! I didn't know it was going to entail all of this. Brothers getting scared, nervous. We were talking about that earlier. Nervous because of trials and all that. Go ahead, Bishop. I'm done.
Where we at? Oh, you had a clip for us. Let's look at this clip. Yeah. You got a clip for us?
This clip is from a show by the name of Hell on Wheels, and it shows the slave masters had made a wager. One of the slave masters didn't like the fact that the slaves were being taught how to read. So you'll see the gist of it in a moment.
Wives, submit yourselves to your husband as is fitting in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives and do not be harsh with them. Children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases the Lord. Slaves, obey your earthly masters in everything, not only when our eyes on you, and to curry the favor, but with sin, sincerity of the heart in referring to the Lord.
Oh, I don't believe it. How old are you, boy?
I ain't been 9 years, sir.
Pay up, gentlemen. It's dangerous, you know, teaching them to read. That's true. Nat Turner was taught to read.
Nonsense. Let me show you. Boy, can you explain to me the meaning of what you just read?
No, master.
See? It's like a parrot reciting Shakespeare. Well done, Elam. Well done.
Now I have heard the groaning of the Israelites whom the Egyptians hold in slavery, and I have remembered my promise. Say unto the children of Israel, I am the Lord. And I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will rid you out from under their bondage. And I will redeem you with a stretched out arm, and ye shall know that I am the Lord.
Now that's a heavy clip, bro. That clip is
That's some heavy stuff.
I get chills every time I see that thing.
That's some heavy stuff. Now, what they say that art reflects life. Y'all heard that term before? Art reflects life. This really happened. Okay, these kinds of situations happen. How you think we had people like, or situations like Nat Turner, Denmark VZ, Gabriel Prosser, and all these people that we read about in history as the agents of insurrection? How do you think these things came up? Because of incidents or situations like this really happened. Okay? And that coded thing was, again, he played dumb in front of the snake, played dumb in front of the fox, till the fox went away. Then the duck got up and went and taught the people, basically. Y'all get it. I'm just throwing it out there just to make it digestible a little bit. Go ahead, Lava.
Yeah, but you notice that the young man was so smart. The Lord put that young man so smart. He didn't only read it, he memorized it in case the master will come. After he read it, he closed it, say, in case somebody come, they don't see no book there. He was just talking general. That's how wise he was. You understand? But when he was read it to the master, he acted like he could not read the book. But look how influently he read it, then memorize it. You understand? So that's how you're supposed to play them at your jobs. Not every comment you have to answer. You have to play dumb. Yeah, I'm a Christian. I'll just keep it moving. You understand? Yeah, you're a Christian? Yes, I'm a Christian. I pick up many customers. Yeah, I'm a Christian. I keep it moving. Some of them I say, not that type of Christian you think I'm.
Deacon Lobby is 100% correct. That's what I do. Oh, you sound like you're a Christian. You're a Christian. Yeah, I'm a Christian. Get out of here. Where my people at? Let me tell you who you really are.
See, y'all had better sense than me. I used to go to my job and hand out flyers. Then I got fired I lost like 2-3 jobs. So why am I getting fired? Lord said, because you stupid. I was like, oh, dang.
You shouldn't have said that, Bishop. But I remember that. I remember that.
I'm saying the white man the devil. I'm giving out the flyer, and the white man right there looking at me. That was stupid. But we just read that our ancestors used and saw evidence that our ancestors used the Bible as food for insurrection. Can somebody tell the Kemetic community the Book of the Dead was never used to help get us out of slavery, to give us an exhortation to get out of slavery? Never. The ISIS papers was not used. The hieroglyphs was not used, my brother. It has always been the Holy Bible. So you better go and get the hell up out of here and learn this book. We have to learn this book.
I see the levels are continually going up. We're at level 8 now.
Our people, can you read that again now? We're going back to the book Before the Mayflower, A History of Black America by Lerone Bennett Jr. That part, you know that part I'm talking about, Cap?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Page 134. With maturity and increasing recognition came a feeling that he was destined to lead his people out of bondage. Like Gabriel, like Denmark Vesey, Turner found food for insurrection in the Bible.
So that was Gabriel Prosser, Denmark Vesey, Nat Turner used the Bible as fuel of insurrection. So this book is a revolution of this book. Believe it or not, brothers, this book is what the Maroons used over in the Caribbean. That's why they said, you know what, take out the Apocrypha, get it all out of there, because them ends is using that to rise up against us. Because all of us wasn't dumb and stupid. Some of us could read. Okay, Cap, one more again. I'm sorry, one more again.
With maturity and increasing recognition came a feeling that he was destined to lead his people out of bondage. Like Gabriel, like Denmark Vesey, Turner found food for insurrection in the Bible. He immersed himself in religion. He even prayed at the plow. He saw visions and heard voices. One day he had an unusual vision. He saw black and white spirits wrestling in the sky. The sun grew dark and
you know what's heavy about that? There's a scripture y'all can help me because I don't know where it is. In Maccabees, where he said he looked up and saw apparitions of angels fight. You know what that is? Can you find that for us, bro? You good, bro? You good?
2 Maccabees chapter 5 and verse 1. About the same time, Antiochus prepared his second voyage into Egypt. And then it happened that through all the city for the space almost of 40 days there were seen horsemen running in the air, in clothes of gold and armed with lances like a band of soldiers, and troops of horsemen in array, encountering and running one against another with shaking of shields and multitude of pikes, and drawing of swords, and casting of darts, and glittering of golden ornaments, and harness of all sorts. Wherefore every man prayed that that apparition might turn to good. Now when there was God, that's it.
So during this time, our forefathers saw an apparition. They saw angels dressed in war garments battling in the heavens. That's what they were seeing. Angels battling in the heavens. And they prayed that what they saw, the apparition they saw, was for their good. It was a good sign that they were going to win the battle.
So you mean Nat Turner wasn't insane and crazy?
No.
Because you got some, like Officer Yan was telling me one of his black teachers in school was saying that Nat Turner was insane and mad and somewhat crazy. You've got to be kidding me, you know?
I'm surprised you didn't mention this, Bishop. Years ago, me and you went to Washington Irving High School.
I forgot about that thing.
And this subject came up. And there was a brother that was in the class that invited us to the school because it was Black History Month, I believe it was, and the subject matter was about Nat Turner. And the teacher had given the student a syllabus to follow. And within the information within the pamphlet that he gave him, when it got to this part here about wrestling black, read that statement again. That he saw about the dream.
He saw visions and heard voices. One day he had an unusual vision. He saw black and white spirits wrestling in the sky.
In the literature that was given to the student, they took the term black and white out. And they said blue and green spirits wrestling in the sky. Why did they do that? They changed it. I still have the tape, so don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I have the literal tape when we went down there. So why did they do that?
With them.
Why did they change the terms of black and white spirits to green and blue spirits? Why did they do?
So that it don't appoint to them when others read it, know that it's going to be them.
Right, right. They did not want them to think that maybe it's supposed to be me. That's the point. And we brought the worst thing about it to them was we straightened it out. We retranslated it in front of everybody. The teachers, man, y'all got to see the tape. The teachers was looking around the room. They looked crazy as they like, these niggas went and told the truth about what's lying. Well, they went crazy. That thing was something.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, you know what's so heavy about vision? Vision, your eyes can open while you see vision. While you a dream is when you're in a trance, your eyes can be open. You understand? Like you see a brother just looking, but he's looking at something he's seen, but you probably see his eyes open. So he's seeing it in his trance. He was in the trance. He see it. You understand? So be very mindful.
Exactly. Where we at, Cap?
Page 134. He saw visions and heard voices. One day he had an unusual vision. He saw black and white spirits wrestling in the sky. The sun grew dark and blood gushed forth in streams. Ordinary things appeared to the mystical slave in a strange light. While plowing the field, he saw drops of blood on the corn. While walking in the woods, he found hieroglyphic characters in blood on the leaves. He concluded from all this.
Now, you know it wasn't no hieroglyphic. That's how they described it. It wasn't no hieroglyphs. The hell is this? Go ahead.
He concluded from all this that the day of judgment for slaveholders was nigh. Another vision confirmed this conclusion. The Spirit, he said, told him that on the appearance of a sign I should arise and prepare myself and slay my enemies with their own weapons. The sign appeared in the form of a solar eclipse in February 1831. Turner immediately chose 4 disciples, Henry Porter, Hart Travis, Nelson Williams, and Samuel Francis, and set his face towards Jerusalem. Some historians believe he found warrant in the famous passage. From that time began Jesus to show unto his disciples that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed.
Right. So there was a city in Virginia called Jerusalem.
Jerusalem County.
Jerusalem County. Thank you. So he used that scripture to strengthen him. What are you going to say outside?
I'm going to prove that it wasn't hieroglyphs that it was reading. Start with that hieroglyphs garbage again.
While walking in the woods, he found hieroglyph characters and blood on the leaves.
They said they saw hieroglyphics, Egyptian writing, right? Listen, read.
He concluded from all this that
he concluded from the hieroglyphics. Let's see what he concluded from hieroglyphics.
He concluded from all this that the day of judgment for slaveholders was nigh.
You tell me what Egyptian book gonna talk about what we reading in the Bible? Right. That's showing you there ain't no damn hieroglyphics. It's a bunch of garbage. All of the stuff that he's reading comes out the Bible. Right. You see that? Read it again, Captain.
Yes,
read
sir.
that statement again.
While walking in the woods, he found hieroglyphic characters and blood on the leaves. He concluded from all this that the day of judgment for slaveholders was nigh.
That's in the Bible. Right. Okay? That ain't in no hieroglyphics. Read.
Another vision confirmed this conclusion. The Spirit, he said, told him that on the appearance of a sign, I should arise and prepare myself and slay my enemies with their own swords, with their own weapons. The sign appeared in the form of a solar eclipse in February 1831. Turner immediately chose 4 disciples, Henry Porter, Hart Travis, Nelson Williams, and Samuel Francis, and set his face towards Jerusalem. Some historians believe he found warrant in the famous passage.
So, turn his face toward Jerusalem. Ain't no hieroglyphic writing going to tell you that. You see that? See, that's what I'm saying. You got to pick up on things like this. That's what we picked up when we went to that school and heard that BS. We said, nah, you devils are lying. We're going to tell you the truth about what this thing is really saying.
Exactly. We don't care.
From that time,
all we want is the highlighted areas.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
go ahead.
From that time began Jesus to show unto his disciples that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests. And
so now, wait a minute. Nat Turner chose 4 disciples. Remember, Christ had 3 favorite ones. And Christ, just as Christ explained that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things, Nat Turner was doing the same thing with his. And he got all that from the Bible. Go ahead.
And suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed. There was a Jerusalem in Virginia that year. It was the county seat of Southampton. Turner decided to attack it on July 4th, but he became ill and the day passed.
Wait. What month and day?
July 4th.
July 4th.
So he wasn't celebrating firecrackers and all that?
Not at all.
No, he was being a firecracker.
Yeah.
He was blowing stuff up. Go ahead.
Turner decided to attack it on July 4th, but he became ill and the day passed. There then came another sign, the peculiar color of the sun on August 13. Turner set another date, Sunday, August 21st, and told his disciples to meet him at a wooded retreat near his slave master's farm. On the appointed day, the disciples gathered on the banks of Cabin Pond, where they ate barbecue, drank brandy, and discussed death.
Can I say something? And discuss death. Wow. When you know that you have, I want y'all to understand the mind state of our brother, Nat Turner. He's a man that is driven with the knowledge of knowing that God chose him for a specific purpose. Y'all with me? If you dealing with a man like that, that man is so determined you can't even get near him with foolishness. I'm listening to the focus on how this man is zeroed in on what he believes he has to do. When you have somebody like that, there's no turning them around. When they think when they actually believe that they were made for that particular thing, there is nothing you can do to get that out of them.
Right. And if you notice, he wasn't doing it because he had an attitude with white folks.
Exactly. That's the point.
He was doing it to deliver his people from oppression and bondage. He had a purpose. Okay. Come on.
On the appointed day, the disciples gathered on the banks of Cabin Pond, where they ate barbecue, drank brandy, and discussed death. Nat, a non-drinking man who...
Negroes can't talk about that today. Why are we going to talk about that?
Let's have a council on death. Let's sit around and talk about death.
Nat, a non-drinking man who appreciated the value of a dramatic entrance, did not join them until late in the afternoon. Then he appeared suddenly and ran his eyes over the group, noting that 2 additional slaves were present at the invitation of his disciples. Turner asked one of them, Will, how came he there? Will replied that his life was worth no more than others, and his liberty as dear to him.
This was the man they called Will the Executioner, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
6 feet tall, or nearly so, well developed, with a back covered with whip scars and a face disfigured by a scar extending from his right eye to his chin. Will was the slave of a cruel master. He was said to be the strongest man in the county, and he bore a special grudge. His master had sold his wife to a Negro trader. Will later handled the broad axe with such passion that Nab dubbed him Will the Executioner.
Stop. Read all that again. He was sharpening the sword in his mind before he even got the sword in his hand. Because he said, he said the Negro trader, a white man, you sold my wife away. So the anger was there. Read it again. Read that again.
6 feet tall, or nearly...
You feel the passion in what you hear it. I feel it. Go ahead. Read that thing.
6 feet tall, or nearly so, well developed, with a back covered with whip scars and a face.
So he got reminders all on his back from this beast whipping me. And then you're going to sell my wife. Go ahead.
And a face disfigured by a scar extending from his right eye to his chin. Will was the slave of...
He got a scar extending from his right eye to his chin. So that meant he got whipped in the face. Go ahead.
Will was the slave of a cruel master. He was said to be the strongest man in the county, and he bore a special grudge. His master had sold his wife to a Negro trader. Will later handled the broad axe with such passion that Nat dubbed him Will the Executioner.
A broad axe. What does that look like? You get look at that thing. He handling that with precision.
And he was screaming, Maccabees!
Shoot. See there? That'll scare most people just to look at it.
Have one of them come down on your head.
A man handling that, mad as hell, his wife is sold, and his name is Will the Executioner. Damn. So you can see him being in the council talking about death, can't you? Easily.
Elder, he's the same guy when they left, I forgot the name of the slave owner, but they left the house, and then as they were walking, they were like probably a mile away. He realized, damn, I forgot the baby, the little Edomite baby. So Will went back and crushed the baby's head with that axe.
We're going to level 9 now. You know that was not the Christian thing to do. That was not the Christian thing to do. No, man.
The defiant spirit of the disciples pleased Turner, and he outlined his plans. They would strike that night.
Wait, notice he said the defiant spirit of what?
Of the disciples pleased Turner.
See what kind of men he had around him? He said, I like y'all spirits because y'all are defiant. He didn't have no mealy mouth. Stay marshmallow. What's the word? Stay
Soft cream in the middle. We don't want those. No.
Stay puff. What? Say it on the mic. I can't say it. What is it?
State Puff Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, he didn't have dudes like that around him. No, you go sit in the corner somewhere. I need defiant spirits around me.
These brothers had purpose. They understood what their purpose was, at least that day.
There you go. Come on.
The defiant spirit of the disciples pleased Turner, and he outlined his plans. They would strike that night, beginning at the home of his master, and proceed from house to house, killing every man, woman, and child. In this way, he explained, they would terrorize the whites and stampede them. Then he said, women and children would be spared, and men to who ceased to resist. That's it. On that.
No, there's more. Turn the page.
I did.
Turn the page again. Ain't no more?
It's not. It's underlined. You want me to read those?
Yeah, read the underline. Yeah.
Can't leave any of that stuff out. Bring all that. You got us at the edge. We want to get the rest of it.
All right. Then he said, women and children would be spared, and men to who ceased to resist. About 10 p.m., the conspirators left their retreat and moved to the home of Joseph Travis. They were 7 men, armed with 1 hatchet and a broadaxe. 24 hours later, they would be 70, and at least 57 whites would be dead. At the Travis home, Turner climbed through the window and led his men to the bedroom of the couple who had the great misfortune to own papers certifying their ownership of a slave named Nat Turner.
Hold it now. See, at first you had us like we were watching it, then we went to commercials. We was like, wait a minute, where's the rest of the picture? So now you brought us back. This scene that he's reading is in a video. What's the name of that video? Uncle Tom? Goodbye, Uncle Tom. They actually have a very beautiful illustration of what he's reading. I mean, the smashing the baby up and all that. All that's in there. Read on.
Without preamble or warning, the said Nat Turner aimed a death blow at the head of Joseph Travis, but his aim was faulty and Will finished the job, killing both Travis and his wife. Two teenagers in an upstairs bedroom were also killed. An infant sleeping in a cradle was overlooked. As they left the house, Turner remembered and invoked the terrible rule that neither sex nor age was to be spared. 2 men returned and slew the infant.
Now, y'all might be crying right now about this thing. Can we get that in the Bible?
Psalms, chapter 137 and verse 8. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones.
Damn.
They didn't get it. They didn't get the picture. Y'all have to again visualize this thing. Read that again. So I'm gonna give you the graphics. So you gotta get the graphics. The HD.
Psalms 137, and let's start at verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said,
just like Will the executioner remembered what happened to him. So the anger was in him. Come on.
Who said, erase it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed.
So when he said race it even to the foundation, this was the Edomites tearing up our thing. What was it? The Babylonians?
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to remember the history. Right. The Babylonians destroyed it, and the Edomites was saying, tear it up, destroy it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Go ahead.
Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones.
So he didn't say that they were going to be doing this while they were crying. They said they were going to be happy to grab the baby's feet and look for a stone. You see, when you grab the baby's feet, you got to grab both feet. There's illustrations of the Spaniards doing that to our brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Okay, show that to them. There it is, right there, right there. Look, blow that up. You see the white man? Get the baby. Okay, right there. That's a stone, right? That's a stone wall. Y'all see that? Take a look at it. Look at it. That's a stone wall. That's the Edomite that got one of our children in his hands. Y'all see that?
Captain, where we at?
Page 136.
Go ahead.
Moving swiftly and quietly through the night, the little band cut a swath of red, chopping down old, young, male, and female. At almost every stop, additional slaves joined them.
Y'all see that?
I took my station in the rear.
You know what's heavy about that? I said additional slaves joined them. Our people need to see something. They need to see an example of a shepherd, people doing something, and they will come join you.
In devastation, wherever we went, I placed 15 or 20 of the best armed and most to be relied on in front, who generally approached the houses as fast as their horses could run. This was for two purposes: to prevent their escape and strike terror to the inhabitants. All through the terrible night, men, women, and children died. No one with a white skin was spared, except a family of poor whites who owned no slaves.
Dang, he let poor white trash live, but go ahead. Go ahead.
In reading the grisly accounts of this affair, it is impossible not to extend to the victims that human sympathy the victims were unable to extend to their victims and their executioners. It is to be observed, too, that the victims were victims, more than anything else, of history and of a boomerang effect of a violent system they supported and or derived benefits from.
Wait, you know what's heavy about that? There's a law about slavery. Can we get the law? In Exodus 22:16, something like that. There's a law, and Christians don't like to read this law. Ask a white Christian to explain this law to you. They're going to go, as soon as they hear it, the law's done away with in Jesus. All right,
21:16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
And that Turner was applying the laws of God. They said, you know what? This law needs to be enforced now. That's what he was doing. Now, somebody, Christian right now, is thinking, well, that law really seals my fate. But I'm going to rely on white man Jesus to get me. Ain't no such thing as white man Jesus. Jesus ain't going to save. Give me that in Revelation now, 13:10. Here is the precept for that law in case you're thinking that law is done away with in Jesus.
Revelation chapter 13 and verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. This is the mindset all of us have to have. Here is you call yourself a saint. Patiently, we must wait for that thing to come to pass. Now let's go back to Lerone Bennett.
Page 136. It is to be observed, too, that the victims were victims, more than anything else, of history and of the boomerang effect of a violent system they supported and or derived benefits from. It is not true, as so many commentators have said, that Nat Turner initiated a wave of violence in Southampton. The violence was already there. Slavery was violence, and Nat Turner's acts, however regrettable they may be on a personal level, were responses to that violence and must be appraised historically, systematically, and politically.
Why don't they give him a holiday?
Exactly. Exactly.
Was
but
that
you know,
no, there's more.
You know, there's a lot of information that's coming out of that thing. You know, that last part that they read there goes to the Jedi mind trick that they try to use on our people to make it think like, well, you're perpetrating violence. And the point is that he said that he was reacting to a system that was already violent. Right. So it was really self-defense.
That's right. Exactly. Can we read on?
None of this was apparent or perhaps even relevant to the white citizens of Southampton.
They always play stupid, but go ahead.
Who were seized with a nameless dread when the first bodies were discovered on Monday morning. Not knowing who or what was behind the killings, the citizens panicked.
Imagine you waking up. They waking up and seeing dead white folks. What the hell is this?
Right.
Go ahead.
And they're so dumb, they don't realize that they're evil as hell. They're supposed to have dead white people all over the place.
Not knowing who or what was behind the killings, the citizens panicked, fleeing to the swamps or barricading themselves in public buildings. Some left the county, several left the state. Meanwhile, Nat Turner rode on, picking up slave recruits at each stop, moving closer and closer to Jerusalem. On Monday afternoon, he reached the Parker farm, only 3 miles from Jerusalem. Turner wanted to bypass the farm and push on to the town, but his men, some of whom were groggy from periodic raids on cider stills, wanted to stop. Turner gave in, a fatal mistake. While waiting, he was attacked by a group of 18 or 20 whites who advanced with guns drawn. Turner, undaunted, counterattacked. The whites held their ground for a moment and then turned and fled. The slaves gave chase, crossed the hill, and discovered that the whites had been reinforced by a larger group from Jerusalem. Forced to give ground, the rebel leader decided to retrace his steps and recruit additional slaves. But by now, the tide was running strongly in favor of the slaveholders, who defeated the rebels at a second skirmish on Tuesday. After this encounter, Turner retired to Cabin Pond and waited for his disciples to regroup. After waiting for a day or so, he dug a cave and went into hiding. By this time, soldiers were flocking to the county from all points. 3 companies of artillery from Fort Monroe and detachments of men from the warships Warren and Natchez arrived. Hundreds of soldiers and militiamen from North Carolina and other Virginia counties thronged into the area. All in all,
I want y'all to remember that. It said hundreds of, what did it say, militiamen?
Yes, sir.
That term is going to come up later on in the class, but just keep that in mind, these militiamen. Go ahead.
All in all, some 3,000 armed men came to Southampton to put down the insurrection. A massacre followed. The purpose of all this was not to find or punish members of Nat Turner's army. The purpose, frankly acknowledged by many of the participants, was to terrorize and condition potential Nat Turners.
Wait, stop that right there. That right there. Read that part again.
The purpose of all this was not to find or punish members of Nat Turner's army. The purpose, frankly acknowledged by many of the participants, was to terrorize and condition potential Nat Turners.
Some heavy stuff right there.
Read that again about frankly.
The purpose of all this was not to find or punish members of Nat Turner's army. The purpose, frankly acknowledged by many of the participants, was to terrorize and condition potential Nat Turners. Writing in the Richmond Constitutional Whig on September 3rd, 1831.
So hold it, wait a minute. So basically what they're saying that we are terrorized today from following anybody that would lift us up. That's the reason why they try to turn our people away from leadership. They want to terrorize you by when you have righteous organizations trying to deal with the people. They want to terrorize you against following this. Same thing. Same thing.
And they'll use terms like you're a cult.
Exactly.
That's the main.
That's the saying. That's the psychology behind it. I want y'all to really see what we're reading here and understand that nothing has changed.
Writing in the Richmond Constitutional Whig on September 3rd, 1831, John Hamblin Pleasance put it bluntly. Let the fact not be doubted by those whom it most concerns, that another such insurrection will be the signal for the extermination of the whole black population in the quarter of the state where it occurs. Among those most immediately concerned was a slave who later told Thomas Wentworth Higginson that at the time of the old prophet Nat, the colored folks was afraid to pray aloud, for the whites threatened to punish them dreadfully.
What happened, because of Nat Turner, they called him the prophet. They called him the prophet. We were afraid to pray out loud because the white men was forbidding us to pray out loud to our God, the Most High. They would put us to death.
Right. We were terrorized. That's what it says, letting you know that black people were terrorized.
Because they didn't want us praying against them like it teaches us to do in Luke 18. Is it Luke 18? Luke 18, where Christ said, pray for the death and destruction of your enemies.
No, that ain't in the Bible, brother.
That
Bible. Can't be that. No.
Now
I got to get rid of that Bible then. I can't follow that. No.
Luke 18, verse 6. And the Lord said.
And the Lord said. Go ahead.
Hear what the unjust judge saith. And shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth.
Y'all see that? So it says he will avenge us speedily. So we're supposed to pray for that. Jump up above that where it talks about that. Not for a while. Let me see. The whole thing's about prayer. The whole thing's about prayer.
Yeah, you know what our people don't understand, Bishop? Deliverance come with blood.
Right.
Deliverance. I'm saying it again. Deliverance come with blood. So y'all can be in La La Land all you want.
Exactly. Job at 4? Go to verse 4. I'm sorry.
Verse 4.
Start at 3. I'm sorry, 3.
Verse 3. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, Avenge me of mine adversary.
That's the subject. Avenging on your adversary, which is your enemy. Go ahead.
And he would not for a while. But afterward he said within himself, Though I fear not God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she worry me. And the Lord said, Hear what the unjust judge saith, and shall not God avenge his own elect?
So now Christ is comparing God to the unjust judge. And shall not God avenge what?
His own elect?
The Israelites.
Which cry
which pray day and night
unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth?
You know why it says that? Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? From the time of Nat Turner, we were forbidden to pray out loud during that time because they didn't want us praying against our enemies, our adversaries. So now, with Christianity's onslaught, they made put in our heads that it is a sin to pray to God for vengeance against your enemies. Most black people and Latin people say, no, you're not supposed to do that. Love your enemy. I don't know. They blur the lines in scriptures. They twist scriptures. That's what they do. This is when what we're reading is going to occur. All right. I don't want no misunderstanding, no confusion. Zechariah 9, let's start at 12.
Zechariah 9 and 12. Turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope.
The stronghold is the Holy Bible. Go ahead.
Ye prisoners of hope.
We're the prisoners of hope. We're prisoners because we're in captivity, and we're hoping for deliverance. Go ahead.
Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee when I have bent Judah for me.
So he's going to bend the southern kingdom, starting with Judah, to do his will. Go ahead.
Fill the bow with Ephraim.
He's forming us into a weapon. Ephraim and the northern kingdom is going to be, we all going to be transformed into a living weapon. Go ahead.
And raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece.
See that? Against thy sons, O Greece. So there is going to be a war. Let's find out when. Go ahead.
And made thee as the sword of a mighty man, and the Lord shall be seen over them.
So that's, y'all see that part? And the Lord shall be seen over them, meaning the chariots. That ain't on this side. That's going to be on the other side when Babylon's destroyed. So I don't want nobody thinking, well, it's going to be here in America. It ain't going to be here in America at all. So nobody get no dumb thoughts. Go ahead.
And the Lord shall be seen over them, and his arrow shall go forth as the lightning, and the Lord God shall blow the trumpet, and shall go with whirlwinds of the south.
See that? Those are the chariots. Go ahead.
The Lord of hosts shall defend them, and they shall devour and subdue with sling stones, and they shall drink and make a noise as through wine, and they shall be filled like bowls, and as the corners of the altar. And the Lord their God shall save them in that day, as the flock of his people.
That's the proof. We're going to be delivered out of here. Go ahead.
For they shall be as the stones of a crown, lifted up as an ensign upon his land.
Right. We're going to be like the stones of a crown because we are his jewelry.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when you have camps, you got different people out here that can't even apply love thy brother. They ain't getting part of this at all. They're going to be put to death. They're not going to be a part of any of this at all. They can't even apply basic discipline scriptures to how to deal with their own brothers.
Exactly.
So they're not going to see any of this.
At that time of the old prophet Nat, the colored folks was afraid to pray aloud, for the whites threatened to punish them dreadfully. If the least noise was heard, the brightest and best was killed in Nat's time. When a boy,
if the least noise was heard, the brightest and best were killed. So you check that out. If a child prayed, they look for the best slave and say, kill that one right there. Put him to death.
You know what's heavy about that, Bishop? Something that Esau sees that we don't see. They know that all of us are not the same. They know that some of us are on different levels. Because for them to single out someone based on their actions, they're looking for any threat. And all of us don't move the same. And some of you have to be real with yourself. That's how you know how to move as a team. If you see someone has better qualities in pulling the people together, rally with him and support him. You see someone has better attributes to bring to the team, rally with them and support him. But Esau looks and says, who can pull these men together? That person is a threat. Tear him down. And that's how they target. That's how you fight a war. But Negroes, they all put themselves equal. I heard this saying when I was at my job. Too many chiefs and not enough Indians. And that's always. It's in the Israelite community also. Everybody want to be a chief. Nobody don't want to be an Indian. And that's why we all get shot down.
Good point. Come on.
In North Carolina, too, people feared Nat Turner more than starvation.
So now they're going to compare and see what happened in North Carolina opposed to Virginia where Nat Turner was from. Go ahead.
The situation in Murfreesboro was desperate. According to an eyewitness who said, it was court week, and most of our men were 12 miles away in Winton. Fear was seen in every face. Women pale and terror-stricken. Children crying for protection. Men fearful and full of foreboding, but determined to be ready for the worst. When a boy rode into the town and reported falsely that a hostile force was within 8 miles, Murfreesboro went up in hysteria. An old man keeled over and died. 2 other white men died of heart failure in the state.
Was that it?
No, there's more. When Turner was finally captured, guns were fired all over Southampton County. The woman, thinking he had assembled another force, fled to the swamps, misinterpreting the cry, Nat is caught, for Nat is coming. Nat Turner was taken to Jerusalem.
So when they were yelling Nat is caught, the people, Edomites started said Nat is coming. Them white women ran into the swamp.
That's imagery. That's the power. What y'all hearing there is the power of imagery. His image, his reputation preceded him.
Go ahead.
Nat Turner was taken to Jerusalem in chains. At his trial, he pleaded not guilty, saying that he did not feel guilty. On November...
Why feel guilty about trying to get deliverance from slavery? Go ahead.
On November 11th, the bold black man called the prophet dangled from the end of a rope in a town called Jerusalem. Author W.S. Drury said that Turner prophesied that it would grow dark and rain after his execution. It did actually rain. Drury wrote, and there was for some time a dry spell. This alarmed many whites as well as Negroes.
Y'all see that? That was it. All praises. So,
Elder, can I say something on that real quick? Captain Zeph, who else was with us? Captain Hananiah and Josiah. We had the privilege of going out to Virginia to meet one of the descendants of Nat Turner. His name is Bruce Turner, great grandson. He knows the story like the back of his hand. And Elder, he told us that there was like a tale of Nat Turner like 20, 30 years after he died. If the Edomite kids was being bad, the parents would tell the kids, you better behave or Nat Turner's coming to get you. So in this part of Virginia, they would even speak about Nat Turner. When we went out there and we went to the courts to look at the records and so forth, they didn't even want to show us the records. The lady was like, "Look, you can't record. Please don't record that."
Get Exodus 2, 11, and 12 to show you that what Nat Turner did was nothing different than what our forefather Moses did. Okay, because somebody like we sometimes we tend in our Negro state of mind try to separate what we're reading in the Bible, our history, from what happened more closer to our timeline today.
Right, exactly.
But it's the same history. Come on.
And Nat Turner knew that.
Exodus chapter 2 and verse 11. And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens. And he spied an Egyptian smiting in Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand.
See what Moses did? That's Moses, the prophet Moses, killed the Egyptian for smiting the Israelite. Okay, that's how our forefathers got down. So that's why I say I don't know what book some of our brothers be reading. Okay, I was reading the other day. Actually, not reading. I was looking at. You ever look at the families of Martin Luther King Jr. and the families of Malcolm X, and look at where both their families are today? And their families, it's amazing because one family is somewhat wealthy, because King's family has an institute in his name. Esau supports them. One of the sons was in like an assemblyman or something of that nature in politics and all that. Then you look at Malcolm X family, who was not supported, not only by Esau didn't support him, black folks abandoned him. And two of his children were, according to when you look online, were in prison. One for putting an assassination plot against Farrakhan, and the other one was for fraud, bank fraud, things of that nature, something like that.
Bishop, didn't
Yes.
even the grandson get in trouble?
The grandson went to jail for
Went to jail.
killing Malcolm X's wife,
Right.
Betty Shabazz, burned her alive.
Burned her
in the
alive.
bed. I'm looking at the two families. I'm like, dang, what the
Right.
hell? You know, and Esau, they support King's family 100%. But Malcolm's family said, nah, let them rot. Let
And
them die.
you can see it when you interview them. They're always speaking in a way as not to bring up anything offensive. They're always speaking in that middle, that was a different time. Things are different now and things have changed. Nothing has changed. If things change, then the prophecy wouldn't be what it is. Judgment is coming. Okay? But they want to rock you to sleep and make you believe that things are better. They're not better.
Exactly. And when you look, King was very, very intelligent, brother. Very intelligent, just as Malcolm was. And they became a threat when King decided to join with Malcolm. And that's when Malcolm was assassinated later on King. America, I wrote this thing out. America, they have given away millions of acres of land to your friendly neighborhood white man. They have given millions of acres of land to poor whites who come from Europe, Poland, Italy, things of that nature. And they've done this and they have somewhat prospered when you look at it. America provided European peasants with an economic foundation. Not only did America give away land, but they provided financial funding. I'm going to show y'all that that's exactly what they did, because a lot of times you'll go to work or be at school and whites will tell you, work hard, pull yourself up by your bootstraps like my ancestors did, and you can be successful in society. Okay, The Columbia History of the World, okay, editors John A. Garrity, Peter Gay, by Harper and Row Publishers. Now, let's go inside the book. Notice what I have it underlined. It says the massive influx into America between 1830 and 1924 of some 35 million immigrants, and large majority of them men and women in their 20s and 30s, attracted by the greater opportunities and higher wages America offered. Let's go to the next page. Like all industrializing countries, America needed large amounts of capital for economic growth and for the social overhead of an urban technological society. Immigration played some part in meeting this need, willy-nilly. European countries had to pay the cost of nurturing immigrants who, when ready to become productive members of society, left for America. In the 19th century, the subsidy this practice bestowed on the American economy amounted to at least $1,000 for each new settler. So what happens to all the hard work, pull yourself up by your bootstraps like their ancestors did? That's a lie. You know how much $1,000 back in the 1800s was? You got to be kidding me.
You got to look at you have to look at the total disrespect and contempt for them to even say that to you. When you look at this here, and then you look around you and you see these magnificent structures and all of these nice homes and all of that stuff here, now you get the idea where it came from. Because they did not, as they were saying, pull themselves up by their bootstraps. When they came and stole the land, they simply built on it what they stole. And that's the way you really have to look at it. So you cannot be here and being happy that you're in this condition. This is the more reason why we have to be a disciplined people and follow what our Lord and Savior told us to do so that we can get the hell out of here.
Exactly. Now let's see the next video, Abiel. I want to see. It flows too. Little House.
Thought I might tell you a story.
Oh, please, Pa.
Little House on the Prairie, the deluxe remastered edition.
Kansas, here we come.
Experience all 9 seasons of the groundbreaking series.
You like home? Good. Because we got one now.
Relive the memories
As long as you do your best, Laura, we'll always be proud of you.
of one courageous family that sets out on an amazing adventure and discovers a thrilling new world.
On your mark. Get set.
Celebrate the characters you cherish
I'm Mary Inglesman, and that's Laura.
and the stories you'll never forget.
Will you marry me?
Of course I will.
The timeless series you grew up with comes to life like never before.
You're a lucky man, Mr. Ingalls.
That's the one thing in this life I'm absolutely sure of.
See your favorite family beautifully restored.
Well, Ingalls family, how's it look?
With all 9 seasons presented in their complete and uncut format for the first time since their original TV broadcast.
I can't count all the things you've taught me.
And exciting new bonus features,
How's that sound?
That sounds good to me.
including the 40th anniversary documentary, The Little House Phenomenon.
I've decided something.
What's that, Heffa?
Home is the nicest word there is.
Own all 9 seasons of Little House on the Prairie, Deluxe Remastered Edition.
Let me tell y'all something. You might not realize it. The Ingalls family was nothing more than a family of colonial thieves. They were thieves. The whole family was thieves. Y'all didn't pick that up? They got $1,000. That's why I had to read this. I had to set it up like that. $1,000. They came over and now they settled with stolen land. And many people, black, white, Latin, everybody. I just love the Ingalls. No.
Deuteronomy 19, verse 14. Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance.
So it was an inheritance not to be touched. Read it again.
Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it.
So they took away something that was given to us by the Creator. Now read the one that the bishop said.
Hey, I'm sorry, Deacon. That's the reason why that white man, Ronald Sanders, called America the Promised Lands. Because they understood. Edomites, they do
That's
study.
right.
That's why they called this land the Promised Land, because they're saying that Gad was promised this.
That's the name of the book, Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. The person that gave those eyewitness accounts of the people he encountered in the land knew, according to what Deacon Yawasop is saying, that this was promised to these people. That's why he wrote that stuff there.
Exactly. Read that. Deuteronomy 27:17.
Cursed be he that
What's that word?
cursed be he that removeth his neighbor's landmark.
So who said these white folks is blessed? God says they are cursed. And the black woman wants to marry her? The black man wants to marry her. The black man wants to marry the white woman? God says they are cursed. But you think that's all good in Jesus.
No.
Y'all are crazy. Did you finish that?
Yes, sir.
Can I give you another one, Bishop?
Yeah.
Y'all gonna love this. Give me Proverbs chapter 23, verse 10. Remember what you just read. Cursed be he that removeth his neighbor's landmark. Now look at this beautiful prophecy here.
Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 10. Remove not the old landmark, and enter not into the fields of the fatherless.
Because when they came to take us down, the first person to die was your father.
That's right.
They killed the men first. They massacred the men. Okay, there was a documentary on YouTube I was watching. I couldn't even finish it. It was a long documentary where they were speaking about Wounded Knee and a few other encounters. And they detailed it of little kids moved a little bit after they shot down the grown-ups, and they were just walking through shooting little kids in the head. Little kids were crawling under their mother to try to hide, and they would push the mother over, see the trembling child, and shoot the child. Read it again.
Remove not the old landmark, and enter not into the fields of the fatherless.
And this is why. Read on.
For their Redeemer is mighty. He shall plead their cause with thee.
And that's what we waiting on. That's what we waiting on. That's why we tell y'all don't get stupid and don't go rise up with no evil in your head saying y'all want to do things to people. The Most High is our Redeemer. He's mighty. And if you move on these people without his say-so, what you're saying is you don't believe in the scriptures.
And you know what evidence of that, Deacon Asaph? When you read in the book of Numbers, when the Most High told the children of Israel to spy out the land, and Joshua and Caleb came back with a good report and said, we could take the land. But the other 10 men said, no, we can't take the land. So then the Most High was mad. So then sometime later, the men said, okay, let's go take the land. Moses said, don't go now. God is not with us. And they said, we're going to go anyway, and got put to death. Because you got to wait on the Most High's commands. You got somebody, Thon?
Yes. Give me Sirach 34 and verse 21. About Elder mentioned earlier about how they're colonial thieves. They're also colonial murderers.
Right.
The Lord going to show you that now.
Sirach chapter 34 and verse 10.
Now in the book by Bartolomé de las Casas, he quotes this scripture because he witnessed them killing our brothers and sisters on the side of the world and taking the land, the Spaniards. Read this.
He that hath no experience.
No, 34 verse 21.
34 verse 21. The bread of the needy is their life. He that defraudeth him thereof is a man of blood.
Read again.
The bread of the needy is their life.
The bread of the needy is their life, meaning our food, this land was our life. Go ahead.
He that defraudeth him thereof.
He that takes it from him, go ahead.
Is a man of blood.
Read the next part. It's going to explain it again.
He that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him.
That's what they did on this side of the world. He that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him. Go ahead.
And he that defraudeth the laborer of his hire
That's what Nat Turner was responding to. They had us working for them for free. Laboring in the land that was stolen, and they had us working it for them for free. Read again.
And he that defraudeth the laborer of his hire is a bloodshedder.
That's what he saw. He's a bloodshedder. And therefore, if you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. Like Revelation 13:10 says.
Exactly. Get Micah chapter 2. We got to realize the Bible is the greatest history and prophetic book on the planet Earth. There's no other equal to this book. That's why we don't play games with the Bible. We're going to tell it to you straight. Whether your feelings get hurt, sometimes your feelings need to get hurt. You got it for me, Captain?
Micah chapter 2. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds.
And work evil on their beds while they're sleeping. Go ahead.
When the morning is light.
When they get up in the morning.
They practice it.
They practice it. They practice the evil they devised on their bed the night before. Go ahead.
Because it is in the power of their hand.
They had the guns. They had what's that special gun they had? The Gatling gun. They created all kinds of new weapons. Go ahead.
And they covet fields.
They what fields?
Covet fields.
Covet means to desire wrongfully. Covet that which is not yours. Go ahead.
And take them by violence.
How did they take the fields of America? By violence. That's who said this? God. This is what God is prophesying to us. Come on.
And houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage.
So this is an oppressive man. He oppressed us and he oppresses our house.
And Bishop, you know what's heavy about that? All of you can remember, well, I don't know what they teach now, but I know when I was growing up in elementary school, they reinforced in our heads that the natives were so stupid they gave the land up for beads and trinkets.
Right, right.
Okay?
Exactly.
20, they keep showing the picture of the simple natives coming up with their hands out, and the white man like, these hopeless little children, let's just take their beads, and that's what they want to reinforce your head. But the Bible says it was through bloodshed and violence.
That's right.
No negotiations, broke every single treaty.
Many of these Edomite leaders, they sat down in an attempt to appear civil. Like they'd have the American Indians come up, sit down, but then they would sit down and create, present deeds of sale in incomprehensible, illegal documents.
That couldn't be understood.
Right, could not be understood.
Only they could understand it.
Exactly. That's what they do. To this day, many of the descendants of these so-called pioneers or settlers receive federal subsidies. Many of them were used to set up militia groups. Remember that word. They were used to set up militia groups to ward off Native American Indians and slave revolts. Now, you're going to ask, what does that got to do with us today? It has everything to do with us today. Now, before I get to it, because I'm going to hit y'all with something. Let me get it. Let me look. So we discussed how they look us in the face and say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? We discussed that, brothers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. They will never admit that they have murdered. They have stolen. They don't admit that at all. Neither their descendants. Thomas Jefferson with his lying self. That what's the thing Thomas Jefferson wrote? The Declaration of Independence. Lie. It's a lie. You hear what I said? The Declaration of Independence is a lie. American Indians realized that back then, and so did the slaves. So this is all a lie. It said, I can't quote, we hold these truths to be self-evident
that all
men are created equal. And they are endowed with certain inalienable rights. Well, let me see if I wrote it down. Inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That's it.
That's all a lie. It had nothing to do with black people, Native Indians, Latinos, had nothing to do with us. Now, right, nothing with the 12 tribes. Now, let me show you the next video. Give me Young Turks. I want the Young Turks video because they say we're all equal, right? When we watch this video, because some of y'all in here, some of you sisters might be thinking we are all equal. I don't know. I'm going to show you a video right now that just happened in the news. And it's going to prove out of the white man's mouth. You might not believe God, but when the white man speaketh, thou shalt believeth.
And hold it now. I'm glad you said it there because I was thinking on those terms. When he comes before you, he comes, as I call it, his whiteness. He believes in that whiteness. He said, you don't understand. I got whiteness rolling with me. Y'all step back. Let me speak. He said, just let me talk to them. I don't have to bring no paperwork. No, Nina, just let me speak. Because all I have to do is talk. And they're going to just automatically follow. What do you mean, why? Because I'm white, don't you see? Let me, So that kind of, he carries that confidence with him. And it's literally reinforced when we deal with him.
Exactly. It's embedded in our heads. You got the video? Okay, let's watch it. How long is it? Okay, we're going to watch the whole thing, but I want you. This is something that occurred in the news a few months ago. Okay, where a militia group took over a Federal Reserve park. They took over a park with guns. Watch.
Last night, the feds finally moved in on the militia members illegally occupying the Malheur Wildlife Refuge, capturing some of the leadership on the outskirts of the area and engaging in a shootout with some of the other militia members, resulting in one death. Here is the overview. Ammon Bundy, the sort of, self-proclaimed leader of the organization, and 4 others, including his brother Ryan Bundy, were arrested after a traffic stop, which resulted in a gunfight. Militia member Robert Lavoy Finicum was killed in the gunfire, and Ryan Bundy was shot in the arm, although he does not appear to be seriously injured. 2 other militia leaders were arrested separately, and a third, John Eric Ritzheimer, turned himself in to authorities in Arizona. He got there really fast. No, I'm joking. He'd been there before. So we do have mugshots of some, not all of the people who were arrested just last night, but you're seeing a good number there, including the Bundy brothers in the top left. Yes.
First of all, I'll just jump in right there with the last graphic that John had there. One of the militia leaders arrested in Arizona. What the hell is he doing in Arizona?
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing to me.
Well, there have been crazy open borders basically this entire time. They're going into town.
No, but
they're buying supplies.
They went and bought groceries. So the thing that amazed me is I kept reading and reading, trying to figure out how are these guys contained earlier, before the shootout. Now we have more details because of the, I don't even know if it's fair to call it a shootout. One guy got killed because he charged the cops, okay, because of the rest. And then when you read into the details, you find out, no, they're free to come and go. Dude goes to Arizona. Nobody arrests them.
Yeah.
They go get groceries. Nobody arrests them.
Well,
they go talk to they say they went and talked to the federal authorities, the FBI, unarmed. They'd have conversations with them.
Yeah.
Well,
Early
FBI, no. If you're having a conversation with a dude who took over federal property with a weapon, here's the conversation. Here how that conversation goes. You're under arrest. That's how that conversation goes. This story is the definition of white privilege. And if you don't see that you've got white privilege, Well, you have it and don't realize it.
Yeah.
Which is the whole point. Now, eventually, this Finicum guy got shot. Let John give you all the details.
Yeah.
And then I want to come back with some of the privileges that they had that no one else in the country would be afforded.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think it's easy to criticize, but I think that they were doing a classic starve out where you just really hope that they don't buy enough groceries for all of them to eat. That's what the government does. They lock them down, they starve them out. They don't eat with them necessarily. But yeah, we do have the details on Lavoy, which we'll get to in just a second. But right off the bat, we have a commentary by Head Bundy, Cliven Bundy, political leader apparently now, who says this is a total disaster to be happening in America where we have federal people killing innocent people. He defines innocent differently than I do, I think. We believe that these federal people shouldn't even be there in that state and be in that county and have anything to do with this issue. Well, I feel that way about a different group than the federal people. I have some sons and other people there trying to protect our rights and liberties and freedoms, and now we've got one killed, and all I can say is he's sacrificed for a good purpose. Agree to disagree on that. Now, in terms of the reaction from the militia members. So the militia members find out that Lavoy has been shot, and there's immediately both an uproar in the militia circles right there in Oregon and around the country, but then we also have sort of different ideas of exactly what happened to him, and it took a little while for the real story to come out. So first, here is video released by militiamen in Oregon when they find out that one of their own has been killed in a shootout with the police.
Media has been ordered to leave. That means they're coming to kill us, and they don't want them to see that. They're going to murder all of us, and the medias are cowards. Stay and show the truth! Show the truth! Media's been waiting for a bloodbath this whole time we've been here. Now there's going to be one, and they're running. They're told to run because the feds don't want to know who's murdering us. American people better wake up, get here, and fight for your country. Right now, it is on.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when the militia comes after you, FBI?
All you military that's been fighting for your country overseas, you can fight for your country right here in America. Get here, get some. This is history in the making. There are no laws in this United States now. This is a free-for-all Armageddon. Any Leo or military or law enforcement or feds that stand up and fuck their oath, don't abide by their oath, are the enemy. If they stop you from getting here, kill them!
Okay, so just right off the bat, all of you who keep tweeting us and have been since the beginning that they haven't threatened anyone, even though they have almost every day in the interim, he just said to kill them if they try to stop you.
If any authorities try to stop you, kill them.
Kill them. So
Could
just
you
be clear.
imagine?
Be
Drop-
clear.
No, I'm done. Drop it. Drop it. Could you imagine if armed black people looked at a camera and said, if the cops stop you at all, kill them? We're gonna have a conversation with these guys? They're free to come and go for 3 weeks. These guys, there was no perimeter. The FBI says, oh, don't worry, we just set up a perimeter. Goddamn right I'm worried. Why didn't you set up a perimeter the first time that they captured a federal building armed, talking about how they're going to murder people who come and try to take it from them? That is theft of federal property. By the way, it is a sentence punishable for up to 10 years if you take any federal property above $1,000 without permission. That is exactly what happened here. They took fairly large federal property. And here these guys on camera say, we're going to murder the cops, right? If they come to get us, you stole shit, you criminal, you thug. You went and stole it with weapons, and now you say if you come to take it back, oh, I'm going to kill you, right? And then more people should come and be traitors to America while pretending to be patriots. Look at the white privilege here. And it's, by the way, not just white, it's right-wing privilege. Because if white left-wingers had taken over, environmental groups had taken over and said, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, whatever it was, it doesn't matter if it's a Latino black group or it's just white, Greenpeace or animal rights guys. Nobody gets to come and go and threaten cops and talking about killing them. Look at here's what happened. So first of all, as John read to you, he said, Cliven Bundy, about the guy who got killed, he sacrificed for a good purpose. Yeah, thank you for being exactly like the Muslim radicals. Oh, he was a good martyr, sacrificed for a good purpose, right? So now, the guy who was killed, Finicum, according to two guys in the car, got out of the car, would not listen to the cops, rushed at the cops, and the cops had to shoot him, okay? There's an 18-year-old who's melodramatic, who got to go into the camp, who now says, oh, no, he had his arms up and was surrendering. Her compatriots who were in the car with her, the other militia members, are like, that's not true. He charged at the cops, okay? So now, that Finicum guy says, before he obviously got shot a couple of days ago, he said, we used to walk up to the feds and talk to the agents in a friendly manner, unarmed and stuff. After you took over the federal building armed, can you imagine Black Panthers take over a building, armed Muslims take over a building, and they just walk up to the FBI and have a friendly conversation with them, and they don't get arrested. This is white privilege. You can steal stuff. You can steal federal stuff, and they don't even arrest you for 3 weeks. And then he says, now they're no longer willing to engage in friendly dialogue. I mean, you don't even know your privilege.
The tenor has changed.
The guy says, why are you ramping it up now? Why the rattling of the sabers? You ramped it up when you took the building with arms. He says, and we're saying, why be so unfriendly?
Why?
Why are you so threatening?
Why be so unfriendly?
Because you were threatening when you grabbed your assault weapons and took over the federal building and said, we will murder anyone who comes inside that is federal authorities or local authorities. That is the threatening part. But if you're white and right wing, you own, because the idea is I own the place.
Yeah.
Even if it's not mine, I'll just steal it, and now I own it, because that's the history of this country.
And then you get mad because they aren't following the law. That's what that fat bastard
No,
is
you aren't following the law. I've got more. So why is that 18-year-old in the car the one making up the stories? According to other militia members, she's making up stories.
Victoria Sharp.
Yeah. Last week, her mother and 6 siblings came to sing for the militants. What the fuck are we doing? The FBI, local authorities let people go in and out of the house. They let kids walk into the house to sing for them. Could you imagine Muslim radicals take over a federal building with weapons?
Just bring the
They're like,
kids.
oh, no, but to be fair, kids came in to sing for them, and we let them.
Yeah.
Are you fucking... No, you don't believe that. Even if you're the dumbest right-winger in the country, you don't believe that. You know that we would surround the building, we wouldn't let anybody in, we wouldn't let anybody out. But if you're white and right-wing, you get to do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, you've been stealing shit this whole history of the country, so you feel like, well, I'm entitled to steal other people's stuff, and I'm entitled to get away with it. I'm entitled to have my family join me. Okay. Sharp, the 18-year-old, not arrested. You're in a shootout with cops. Okay, she's 18 years old. You're telling me, you know, the black girls at that pool in Texas, you remember?
We got thrown around.
Right, they were teenagers. They were under 18. They're at a pool party. They get thrown around like this. You're a fucking black girl, so we throw you around like this. You're a white girl in a shootout with cops, and you walk away. You walk away. White privilege, you don't get it, because you feel like I own this country. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can tell cops I'm going to murder them. I can have one of my buddies get in a shootout with the cops, and I walk the fuck away. You know how quickly she would have been put down, let alone arrested, if she was black, Latino, Muslim, or any other minority. Okay, put her aside. 2 of Eamon Bundy's bodyguards who were in the car were seized by the authorities, as they seized everybody, questioned, and then they let him go. Could you imagine? Oh, I've got a Muslim radical leader here who took a federal building with weapons, and his bodyguards with weapons in a shootout with cops. They go, oh, well, you were just bodyguards.
Yeah.
You were just Muslim jihadi bodyguards. You're free to go, right? They were free to go. They're out right now. This is the definition of white privilege. And by the way, again, right wing, no way if it's a Greenpeace people or other people that they let him go.
If it's a Berkeley
no
student,
way.
they get pepper sprayed from an inch away. We understand that.
Oh, I mean, you're a protester on a college campus and you're left wing. You're protesting war. They're going to put you down. They're going to pepper spray you. They're going to mace you. They might shoot you. But they're not going to let you walk away if you're armed. You know what, by the way? Everyone involved in those cars If they're not white right-wingers, you know what happens to them? Life sentence. You know why? I've covered this a million times on the show, and look it up. It's called felony murder. They're in the commission of a criminal act, a felony. Someone gets shot and dies, and yes, it can be a person involved in committing the felony. This is the most classic case, an armed bank robbery. A guy goes in, his buddy gets shot by the cops. He gets a life sentence because someone died in the commission of that criminal act. Someone died. Finicum died. All the people in the cars, felony murder, life sentence. But that's only if they're black, Latino, or any other minority. But if you're white and you're a right-winger, they let you walk out of the fucking building. This is insane, man. There's 2 different laws in the country, and we walk around and pretend it isn't. Why am I so angry today? Because in my infinite foolishness and naivete, I didn't realize it was this bad. After all of this, I thought, no, they must have a perimeter around the place. They must be, arrest the bodyguards. Of course you arrest the bodyguards and put them in jail. No, I was wrong. I was wrong. If you're white and right-wing in this country, you can do almost anything and get away with it. You know, Cliven Bundy, the dad who's talking about martyrs now, he still owes the government $1 million. He's like, I'm not paying it, and if you come to collect it, like we did last time, we'll shoot you in the head. Can you imagine a black man owes $10 rather than $1 million to the federal authorities or state authorities, and he says, no, you can't collect the $10 I owe you because I'll shoot you in the head if you do. And you have any idea how quickly he'd be put down?
They would wait a month or so.
Tamir Rice was a 12-year-old. He was a 12-year-old, for Christ's sake. He had a toy gun. These guys have real guns. Tamir Rice didn't say, I'll kill you. They never gave him a chance to speak. He was shot dead in 2 seconds. These guys have been saying for 3 weeks, he gets 2 seconds. They get 3 weeks of saying, we're going to murder you, we're going to murder you, we're going to murder you, and they still get away with it. So finally, after 3 weeks, they bothered to arrest them. Fucking white privilege. That's what this is.
See, if I had said that happened, they wouldn't believe me. So I had to let the white man tell y'all exactly what happened in the news.
So,
and me at home, me and my wife, we be home saying, well, what happened with that militia group? Every night, did something happen? Did something? No. 1 week go by, 2 weeks, I'm like, what the hell's going on? Oh, now they ain't even talk about it. Then, boop, it comes up. What are you going to say, outside?
That was it. All he has to do is just come and say, like I said before, all he has to do is just come into the room. He said, listen, I got my whiteness with me. It's going to work.
And this, what we just saw, was not 20 years ago. This was now. This was now in the news.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.